Hello, my family and friends. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so excited with what the Lord is doing in my life and in the lives around me. And I'm super excited to be shooting this video right now because I want to tell you about a new video series that I'm coming up with. It's called A Summer of Many Seasons. And it's going to be all about my journey of the Lord leading me to Mozambique, but then everything just changing and Him turning around my entire trip and leading me to South Africa for 3 months. And I was just on a long journey for 3 months for my summer that turned out being winter. And I was in South Africa and I just recently got back. And so I'm super excited for what God is doing, what He's done, and I'm super excited to share. So I'm going to be shooting a daily video, and it's going to be just sharing testimonies and revelations and awesome insights of what God did over my summer. And so I'm super excited about that. And I haven't done a video in a long time, so it's going to be awesome to be able to just update you guys and for you guys to just join with me on this journey of what God has been doing in my life and just how the things that He's done in my life. I just pray that they will encourage you and just lift you up in your relationship with Christ and just draw you closer to Him. So I want to start from the beginning. And so I had just gotten back. This was around, I got home from Sydney, Australia, from doing my discipleship training school that was life-changing at the end of December. Actually, literally Christmas Eve, I arrived home. And God has done so many awesome things since then. And I had the opportunity in February to share at this women's event called Heart to Heart. I actually have a video of the incredible miracles and things that the Lord did there. And as I was sharing on stage and sharing testimonies that happened in South Africa last year when I was there for my DTS, and I was just sharing testimonies of what God did. And there was this awesome woman of God. She just loves the Lord so much. We met the night before and we just both just knew that we were going to be awesome friends because we could just feel the fire of God coming off of each other, and it was just awesome. So we connected, and then the next day she comes up to me and she says, this is after I spoke on stage, she says to me, so I had this vision while you were on stage. She says, I have to be obedient to the Lord because I don't know, what, you need to just take this back to the Lord, but I just have to be obedient and tell you. And she said, I saw you on stage. When you were on stage, I saw a vision of you in Mozambique with Heidi Baker. And right in that moment, it was like the Holy Spirit spoke to me saying, yes. But I kind of was like, whoa, that's a little intense. Like, I don't know about that. Because actually, to be honest with you, God had put on my heart to go back to South Africa later in this year. And I didn't know when or how or what that was going to look like. But I just knew that God had broken my heart for Africa, and He began to give me this vision for the whole of Africa. And it was way beyond me, so I just was laying it in His hands. So for her to just all of a sudden talk about Mozambique and say that the Lord showed her this, I was so surprised, but I also felt in my spirit that yes, like that is from the Lord. So I said, awesome, like I got to keep praying about it. And then it just so happened to be that I could sign up for a conference that was happening a couple weeks later in Phoenix, the Woman on the Front Lines conference, and Heidi Baker was coming to speak there. And so I had the opportunity that same day to sign up to go for free to this conference. So right away, I saw the way the Lord was working and just placing different things ahead of me and just putting it all together. And though I did not understand it at all at this point, I just was trusting Him. And so I just kept praying about it for a long time. Prayed about it all the next day. Just spent all day with the Lord and just was really pressing into Him. And I started looking at Heidi Baker's schools and her ministry online, and I found this school called the Harvest Mission School. And there was one in June and there was one in October. I kept praying about it, and I felt the Lord just tell me that that is where He wanted me to go before I went back to South Africa, and just before I did anything. And so I was praying about whether to go to the one in June or October. And as I continued to pray and as the days went by, I felt the Lord tell me that he wanted me to go to the one in June. And one of the funniest things about this is actually one of my closest friends, he was in Honolulu at the point finishing his SBS, School of Biblical Studies. And I'd been asking him, what is God telling you to do next? And he said that he actually felt the Lord tell him not to tell me. So that was just like, okay, whatever, he'll tell me when he tells me. And I actually contacted him and told him about the whole vision of me in Mozambique with Heidi Baker and how the Lord was speaking to me, telling me to go to this school. And he just was like, wow, I'm going to pray that the Lord reveals his steps and directs you in the right path, and of which one to go to. And then when God revealed to me that he wanted me to go to the one in June, I texted my friend and said, can you be my friend reference? And that's when he had to call me and he said, I can't be your friend reference because I'm being led to go to that same school. And I already applied. And I was just blown away. We both were blown away because of the way that God just orchestrated that all together. So all this excitement and all this, just crazy twists and turns already of what I had expected were just happening. And then not to even mention that, okay, I went to the event at Women on the Front Lines, and I went with another close friend of mine, and it was amazing what the Lord did in her life in the way that he radically, transformed her and redeemed everything and broke all the chains and just totally just brought her back to himself. It was beautiful. And I actually went with the same lady who had the vision of me because we started to get really close friends. And so right when Heidi got there on that Saturday, I went up to her and I wrote her a little note saying that I'd love to talk to her because God is calling me to her school. I'd love to tell her all the things that he's been doing in my life. And so later that night, I was able to go and meet her. And I told her the whole story, briefly, but that God showed this woman a vision and that he's spoken to me directly and all these things that had been leading up to this. And she said, well, I think the school's full, but this is God. So I'm going to contact them and let them know, that this is God and see what happens, So I was just so blown away, so stoked, like just out of this world. Like, yes, Heidi Baker, I met her. She's so beautiful and lovely and wonderful woman of God, and that God was speaking to her and everything was going great. I actually met another friend there who he was feeling called to go to that school too and was going to see what happened. And so I actually got some prophetic words spoken over me at that event, saying that God was leading me to Africa and that he was leading me to be broken and poor with the broken and the poor, but not completely broken, just broken enough to understand them and to come from a place of where they're at, but that I would have him and he would be my encouragement, he would be my strength, and he would be my everything. And so God had already begun to stir inside me a hunger and a thirst to go lower and slower and deeper in his presence and deeper in intimacy, so that way I could just be poor in spirit and be broken before him and desperate for him and hunger and thirst for him. So it was amazing what God was already doing inside me, just calling me to that, leading me to do that. And then had a crazy radical encounter with the Lord that night at the event when Heidi spoke, and we were just worshiping and pressing into God. And God revealed to me that we were singing this song, I'll go with you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere. I'll go with you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere. And I just was thinking and just praying and praising God. And I just felt him saying, I just felt in my heart, God, I don't want to go if you don't say go. I don't want to do anything if you're not the one leading me to do that. If you're not leading me and I'm not holding your hand, and I know that he goes with me everywhere, but I didn't want, there would be no point to do anything without the purpose being about him, because he is the prize, he is the reward. And so it was just amazing what God was doing. And the Lord, I had an encounter with him that changed my life forever that night. And so it was amazing. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop there because for this first video, because what's so incredible is the next things that are to come and the way that the Lord radically did amazing miracles and amazing just things to lead me, continuously to lead me there. And there's going to be some awesome stories that are going to be totally just pretty radical in the way that the Lord led me there. And so I'm super excited to share with you guys. Please continue to follow me every day and watch my videos and join with me on this journey of what God did, and just be so blessed. I pray that God would just bless you through these videos. I pray that He would just, shine His face upon you, and that He would just continue to draw you closer to Him in intimacy. So I'm excited, so excited to share with you my journey, and please stay tuned and keep watching. God bless you.